On the same day Savannah Guthrie went back to work, TMZ got a ransom note. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I think that means and why.
Reported missing February 1st from her Tucson, Arizona home. Investigators have yet to identify a suspect or a person of interest, and there is still no sign of where Guthrie could be. Let me now bring in our national security contributor to better break down these developments, former CIA officer and FBI special agent Tracy Walder. Tracy, good morning to you, my friend. Thank you for your time early this morning. Do you find the timing of these latest ransom notes to be intentional? The same day Savannah returned to work.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Marky. Yes, I absolutely find these to be intentional. This is a person that now, what, for almost, gosh, a month, 6 weeks, has waited to essentially put out another note. I think this is a person who sort of wants the fame, wants the discussion, and TMZ is giving them really exactly what they want.
The thing that really sticks out to me with all of these ransom notes, Tracy, is the Bitcoin ask, right? Like this latest one asked for half a Bitcoin. A full Bitcoin right now is worth $68,000. So they want 34 grand. I mean, the Guthrie family is good and willing to pay $1 million for anybody who has information that helps recover Nancy. If this person were innocent, why not come forward for that cash, that $1 million instead, and help crack the case?
Okay. I keep having to tell you my opinion on this, and I don't understand. I really don't understand why this is so mysterious to people. Like, obviously, we would prefer that they did exactly what the FBI wants and expects them to reach out to the family instead of sending the note through TMZ. But they were successful with the way they went about this because we have yet to be able to pinpoint who they are. So why would they turn around and give themselves up and then hence go to jail? I'll also tell you why I think this is important. I said at the beginning when these came out, and if you don't know my theory, go back and watch them all again because I am not going to mention names anymore. I'm done proving my theory. Okay, I'm done proving my theory. So you'll have to go back to all the other videos and welcome everybody that's new. So I had said that I believe in the report that I sent to the FBI, it's a father-son connection. Okay. I'll keep building my case as we keep listening. Let's go. But if you, let me finish the statement, want to get caught, then yes, you're going to call in the report to the FBI. You don't want to get caught. You're going to continue to do what you've been doing because it's been working. And if this person is in Mexico and doesn't need as much money as one would think to get some sort of payment, but it's more than that. Okay, it's more than that. If you're not aware and you're new here, my name is Liane. Welcome in. It's Friday, April 10th, 6:18 a.m. And I volunteer as a psychic medium with the Find Me group. Let me put some banners up there for that because I've been forgetting to do that lately. If you want to donate to the Find Me group, Find Me, our group volunteers everything we say or do rather to help families is strictly free. Let me get this banner up. Okay, so I'm going to give you my intuitive psychic hits as we go through today's videos, and there'll be 2 Nancy Guthrie videos today and the remote viewing of the general as soon as I can. I got some grandsons coming over again today who I'm watching, not feeling super good. So listen, let's listen into this some more.
You're absolutely right, because as you know, the amount of Bitcoin has changed. I'm not surprised that they are using Bitcoin, Margie, or asking for Bitcoin as it's pseudo-anonymous, right? I think that is unfortunately the way that a lot of kidnappers, ransoms, those kinds of things, we've seen that a lot. So that's not surprising in and of itself, but this is what, $34-ish thousand. So the number has changed significantly from when that first ask came in.
And we know other notes throughout the case have been ruled out as fakes. However, just given the coverage of Guthrie's disappearance, what's the FBI doing to ensure they're accurately authenticating any alleged communication right now?
The FBI doesn't have a choice. They have to treat all of these as real until they are disproven. And so that's a good thing. We want them to do that. But the problem is we don't want a sheer, large number of volume to come through to the point that it stops up the FBI in terms of doing this in an efficient and quick way if they are real to find her. So I think in this case, what they are doing is obviously my guess is this person is using a VPN and is not in the location that they are saying that they are. So they have to get through that. They're probably using encrypted chat to do this if this is the same one as the individual who did that in, I guess, mid-February. So that is going to take some time, but they will be able to discredit or credit the person at some point.
Okay. I can't stand seeing the constant presence of this man anymore. Sorry, I did say that out loud. So listen. Chris found something, sorry, Chris, for the mispronunciation, found something very interesting last night about those ransom notes. Watch this. And then I'm going to tell you what's going on, in my opinion. Now, we're going to use a couple of clips today of what they were talking about last night, because as usual, Chris and Karen had an amazing show. Go check it out. But there's some clips that are really, this one in particular, relevant to this conversation. So Karen did some digging in preparation for this almost 4-hour live they did last night. I did not get to stay up to see it all, but listen to what she found.
One of the things I want to show you, even before we kick into that gear, is Letitia Stauss, who killed her son.
Stepson. Yeah.
Gannon, right? Who killed her boy. I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but check this out in her arrest affidavit. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Can you guys believe this?
Let me go ahead and read it for people who are watching on their phone and it's too small to read. Okay, so Chris, tell us where this is from, and then I'll go ahead and read it.
It's from her original arrest affidavit. So this is a case, as we all know, we all followed it. Linda from It's a Crime absolutely tore this case apart. Okay, but there's one paragraph in the arrest affidavit when they went after her, and guess what it says? Honey, would you read that?
Okay. It says a tip line was established and investigators received hundreds of tips and leads from the public by virtue of email and telephone calls.
Sound familiar?
As part of this tip line, 2 ransom notes were received by email demanding money in the form of Bitcoin in exchange for Gannon's return. Because remember, they were looking for him.
Yep.
He was considered missing. Investigators took steps to validate these ransom notes, including resolving and geolocating the Internet Protocol IP addresses from the email headers and requesting subscriber information from the Internet Service Providers, ISP, that hosted those IP addresses. One of these ransom notes was sent from a foreign-based email account that's accessible by multiple individuals. Investigators were unable to trace the user of the IP addresses and believe the ransom notes to be fraudulent and strictly designed as a scheme to receive money. Now,
okay.
Why would you bring this up for the Stodge case?
Okay. The only reason I point this out is, what if somebody watched that coverage? And what if the person, whoever's sending these ransom notes or anything else like that, et cetera, well, we now know definitively this is something that is not uncommon.
In a missing person's case.
And in this case, the little boy was missing. He'd been abducted, allegedly. And look how it was set up here. As part of a tip line, 2 ransom notes were received by email demanding money in the form of Bitcoin in exchange for Gannon's return. Now, I'm not saying that is related to this, but I'm kind of saying that's interesting with this going on.
I would concur. In fact, I think it's very interesting. Very interesting. A coincidence? It seems like, to me, the people behind this, who I've already laid out in full. If you're new, welcome. Go back and watch them all. It seems like this person, these people, very into movies, true crime documentaries, and stories. Just seems like they are following some scripts, some acting. I've said that all along. It just seems scripted and acted out. Let's listen some more though.
Okay. And when we start seeing all of these notes being sent to, all of these other places, I want you to pay attention, because that is a carbon copy of what's happening in this case. And remember, we always talk about, you've got to look for similarities. You've at least got to think outside the box and say, okay, well, wait a minute. Has this ever happened with a grandmother? And the answer is no. We've never seen it happen with a grandmother. But what we do know now, it has happened with a child. And it happened in Gannon's case.
And that's a pretty recent case.
That's a pretty recent case. Now, the good news is they got some of they were able to peel back the layers, and they got to, that the emails were coming from overseas. Okay. So why is that important? Because you don't want to get caught up. Okay. You don't want to get caught up in the noise. Because if you get caught up in the noise, i.e. over here, remember we talked about 2 trains that left the station.
Okay. So as much as I absolutely adore Chris, and I think he's brilliant, and pretty much not pretty much, I would say I've been following his analysis of this case from the get-go, and I would say for the most part, he and I concur. He's far more experienced as a detective, or rather a retired homicide detective. He also runs the Cold Case Foundation, which is the same as Find Me, where I volunteer. So he has far more practical experience. I've got my spidey sense, my visions, and everything else, and I have helped locate a missing child before. And these notes for the ransom, they're not a gig. I said it at the beginning when they first came out. There's 3 sets of notes, right? 3 sets of ransom notes. We have the 2 that Savannah and Cameron and Annie responded to, and Savannah told us in her words that she felt they were real. And the FBI, in my opinion, would not have put them up on camera to make statements to the entire world as the victims in all this if they weren't real. That's just my opinion. But then it comes out, Ashley Banfield, I love Ashley, reports, well, FBI are saying they believe these notes are real. She brings Harvey Levin in, which I've already done a video on, and he's been talking to them, and he says they very much feel those 2 are real. We got the one with the guy charged, who I said, I'm sorry, I thought it was a 9-minute conversation. I guess it was 9 seconds. Somebody recorded or corrected me, rather. I never really paid much attention to that one, although I find it suspicious. It's not really where my focus has been. But he was arrested. That was, right, California. Then you've got this group of notes, when there's the most in this group, which is this person that keeps sending TMZ. They wanted a Bitcoin. Now, from what I understand, they want half now and half after Nancy's discovered. And they could likely call in and make a deal. But I don't think they're here I say here, I'm Canadian. I don't think they're in the US legally. And I do, and I said before, I believe this person is connected. And I'll tell you why I think this person is connected. But let's watch a couple more clips. First, we're going to listen to a timeline review of this case. And then you're going to be absolutely blown away by some other parts of Chris's last night live. And Nancy Grace has a clip that you need to see. And then I'm going to tell you, like I do in all my videos, who this is and their involvement in this and why I believe that. Let's listen to the sheriff first. Let's go back through the timeline.
I'll go over it with you. You can see it on the board there, but at about 5:32 p.m., these are approximate times. 5:32 p.m., Nancy travels to her local family's home for dinner and playing games with the family, just visiting. At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home. And we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes. It is that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So it detects a person on camera. Could that?
Okay, so originally they had said they thought it was an animal. I think that's the part that's a little interesting. We're going to continue to watch this. I'm sorry, the volume is up as high on my end as I can possibly get it. I know a lot of you are going to say, it's too low. I can't do anything about it. It's as high as it can go on my end. So it's just coming in from their end. But we're going to get to some interesting parts. Just let's listen to this timeline. And boy, oh boy. Wait to be blown away here. Let's go.
Be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video.
It could be an
We're
animal.
not giving up on that. 2:28. Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy, discovers her missing.
Okay. I got to talk about this. Chris goes through last night all the interviews. There's a part that you absolutely need to see because it goes in line with my Thank you for picking this up, Karen and Chris. It's in line with my theory 100%. But I want to talk about this because we all know he started off, and the first three, Chris and Karen replayed the press conferences last night, including the first one he gave outside somewhere that night. He said 3 times the family went to check in at 11, and then the call to 911 came in. And then suddenly it's 11:56. Well, when you see the next clip, you're going to be blown away. You're going to be blown away. But here's the thing I want to say first. He's in my opinion, and I've said this all along, yes, he's crazy and narcissistic and has not a clue with what's going on, in my opinion, in this investigation. But here's the thing. I think he's also protecting a narrative. And he's also protecting an investigation in a weird way. And I've said that before, and I'm just going to leave that there. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. You can make into that what you want, especially after we piece this video together. But see, the thing is, it doesn't matter whether they left. They got the call at 11. Whether they showed up at the house at 11:56 and then called 911 a few minutes later, or whether they left the house and went over there at 11 and called 56 minutes later. It's a 56-minute discrepancy, right? The storyline changed lines. The storyline rather has changed. The storyline, the language, the story has changed. And I just want to pause for a second, because in the investigation, as Chris says last night, this guy should be fired. I mean, 56 minutes of a story change, a timeline change, which is absolutely crucial in this investigation, and no validation or explanation for how that timeline just magically switched forward and moved forward 56 minutes is dumbfounding. Here's the thing, though, because we know you're going to see some very interesting stuff that Karen and Chris dug up. It's all been in front of us the whole time. But now that I've weaved my theory in its entirety, well, pretty much, and we see this, and I saw this last night, I was like, bang, that supports my theory. Holy F, holy CRAP. Wow. This story is just getting exponentially stranger and more concerning in ways that I did not anticipate. And I'm sure you guys won't either when you see this. But it's been there, and I've hinted at it, and I just couldn't put my finger on it as eloquently and specifically as Karen and Chris did yesterday. But to go back to my point, because this is, in my opinion, a timeline change to protect the family's narrative. Just my opinion. Because I guess in their opinion, to have arrived at the home and have waited to call 911 for almost an hour would look a little suspicious. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We know they got the call from people that Nancy went to church with, and they showed up. She was to visit, as they did every week, her friends' homes where they watch their church service together at their friend's home via Zoom. And she didn't show up. Now, which is worse? Which is worse? See, I see when you're trying to cover up a crime that it looks way worse if you're on site at 11 and you call 911 almost an hour later. I get that looks really bad. But how good does it look when you get a phone call from your mother who's 84 years old, lives alone? You dropped her off apparently the night before for dinner, and you get a call. She didn't show up. Why does it take an effing hour? Why does it take an effing hour to go check in on her? What the fucking F? What the fuck? So I'm not sure that the protection of the family is as great as he thinks it is when he's moving the storyline forward. Because either way, it don't look good. What do you think? It just doesn't look good. I mean, holy F. If I got a phone call and it was, well, my dad, because I'm not going to use my MOTHER, because she's just a useless tit, and I'd probably let her fucking figure it out for herself, truthfully. Let's just say I got a call that was my dad. Oh my God, I'd be jumping trying to call my dad if he didn't pick up his phone, which we know she couldn't have because her phone was left behind. Would you not be running over there right away? What the F? So I don't think it protects him quite as much as he thinks it does. But let's get into the protection piece now. Let's go. Let's watch that piece. Okay, this is where it gets super interesting. If you saw my video, have we found motive? Possibly found motive. This is going to interest you because at the very end of that video, I've proven my theory basically throughout covering this case, piecing it together, and I had this epiphany about these ransom notes. And I've been saying all along, they're real but not real. And I had mentioned at the end of that video that I felt that the person involved, the people involved, were controlling the narrative on both sides. In other words, on the notes and the ransom note side, and also on the public pleas side. So I'll let you piece that together. If you want to go watch those videos, go check it out. But this blew me away. Now watch carefully. I'm going to slow this down just a little bit. Watch.
At 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12 minutes later, our patrol teams arrive. They see the scene and we start our response with our search and rescue teams and our detectives from homicide and various units. In fact, every unit here, I think somebody questioned, how come there's an ICAC member out here or this member? Everybody in our criminal investigations team is a part of this team and part of this investigative effort.
We need to know without a doubt that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us.
Now that's the first video. Now let's get back to the presser after the first video, or rather before this first release. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Let's get back to the presser that happens before this. Let's go. Now think about this. Before any ransom notes that we are aware of, look at the text at the bottom of this presser and watch this and tell me who's controlling the narrative. And I already said, is Savannah controlling the narrative? But there's another person controlling the narrative, in my opinion. Listen in, and we're going to get back to the start of this video and why I know what's going on.
I'm going through some talking points with the family. I want to make sure I cover them. I'm not somebody who does well with the script.
Holy, how did we miss that? He looks down on his phone. I'm going through some talking points for the family. I got some things to say on behalf of the family. I want to make sure I cover them so he checks his phone. Oh, and it gets much more interesting. Chris and Karen, I love you, but you guys missed another one. But this part. I'm not somebody who does well with a script. That word script again. Chris and Karen, go watch it. Prove. He is given a script that he's supposed to read to the media on behalf of the family. And instead he says, y'all know me, I don't do well with the script. Why is the family giving him a script? And who in the family is providing him with his script, his talking points to the media. What? What the fudge is going on? What the fudge is going on? Oh, and it gets more interesting. Let's keep going. I just decided this is so important. We're going to watch it again, especially if you know my theory. Let's watch it again. The volume is up as loud on my end as possible.
Sees blood, sees the doors propped open. Here's the conversation from the family. Yeah, we called all the hospitals. And she can't walk 50 feet to the mailbox. Savannah's been notified. My sister in New York. My brother's been notified in Vermont. Okay, so they're out of the picture. They're out of the picture. In the officer's mind, the first responder. Okay, what else has happened in the officer's mind? All right. Well, how'd you get in the house? They tell him. We don't know what that is. The sheriff has dodged that bullet from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, day one.
Okay, let's go back.
I suspect.
Chris just says, what you're going to hear in 30 seconds, I had a mind blow. Look at what he's doing. Nanos is holding his phone. Oh, and I'm going to show you another one. I want to make sure I cover them. I'm not somebody who does well with a script. Let's listen to him again. Watch. He's looking at his phone.
Now, look at what he's doing. He's reading text messages, or he's got something on his phone. And listen to what he has on his phone.
I'm going through some talking points for the family. I want to make sure I cover them. I'm not somebody who does well with the script.
Let's slow that down and tell people. Let me read it. Chris is having a conniption over here with this. You can't tell. So here's what the sheriff says Monday morning at the press conference. Quote, I'm going through some talking points for the family. I want to make sure I cover them. I'm not someone who does well with the script. Okay, what jumps out to you guys if you're in chat? If you're not in chat, just think about that. But if you're in chat, what jumps out to you? The sheriff starting the press conference saying, I'm going through some talking points for the family. I want to make sure I cover them. Chris?
Well, there's only a couple of answers. One, do they have an attorney? And if so, has the attorney delivered talking points on behalf of the family? For the family, quote unquote. You guys are, I'm going to play it again. And you make up your own mind. But that is breaking news. That is huge.
Let me break it down for people who may not know. The sheriff's role would have been to stand up there and say, thank you all for coming. We are investigating the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. She's an 84-year-old mother and grandmother. She was last seen at her home. Go through all that and deliver the facts. If the family wanted to be at that press conference and they didn't, whatever reason, and so they had remarks that they wanted to make or put out there to the public, then the sheriff should have said, okay, now here's the facts of the case, what we're releasing, it's been 24 hours. Here's what the family, in lieu of standing here next to me at the podium, they want you guys to know A, B, and C. That's not what he says. So it looks like he's reading the script driven by the family, not the investigators.
Okay. And which in all of my years, I spent 13 years in homicide. I never had talking points from a victim's family. Ever. Do you know why? Right? Common sense. What if they're the suspects? What if it's Letitia Stout? And I'm reading talking points on behalf of Letitia, on behalf of Barry Morphew. We didn't hear the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI, get up and say, on behalf of Barry Morphew, I just want to make sure I get all my talking points. I don't do good. I don't do well with a script. Okay. What? And I was like, this is crazy. So let me get this right. The night before, Yeah, we found the doors propped open. All of this narrative, all this narrative, all this narrative. The next morning, he's got talking points for the family.
And he calls it a script. Well, wait a minute. Actors have a script. More than one person has a script. Did everybody get together and write a bunch of talking points and say, this is the script? This is what we're going to deliver to the media?
Where did we hear that point made before? Just a side note. Where did we hear that point before made? Savannah, in her interview to Hoda, said we all came together and decided what to write. Just leaving that there. I'm going to go to a couple of more bombshell moments and points, and then I'm going to answer the question why this person is reaching out to TMZ for half a Bitcoin to tell where Nancy is, and why I actually believe it's connected to this case. Let's go. Okay. So we know he's reading a script on behalf of the family. Keep listening. Keep listening.
I mean, just the blood, the door, the suspicious house, and the fact that you've been up all night. Do you see anything here? No, we don't see anything here. Nothing to see here. Move along.
This time it's still a very active investigation. There were circumstances on scene that we believe are suspicious in nature, I think is the best way to put it.
A blood on the porch? Okay.
That we didn't know about at this time.
But just tell the public, even at this
Yeah.
point. It's not hold back information. Okay. Brian Enton the next day goes up there with a camera and takes pictures of it. And then the pizza man shows up and the Amazon man shows up.
And the pool cleaner.
The Amazon guy's taking pictures of the package he puts down. For all we know, there's pictures of the blood in those package pictures.
Unbelievable.
But you can't get this guy to say it.
But we can't really get into a whole lot of details with that now.
Do you believe that this was targeted, or they just happened to hit Savannah Guthrie's mount, or if this was just random? We don't know that. We look at.
Listen, his phone is vibrating. Now, we know the family has given him a script because he told us. Do you think the family's watching the presser? I do. Now his phone is vibrating. Listen in. His phone is vibrating. And then listen to what he says.
All of that, but we just don't know that. Do they have cameras at the home? They do, and we're looking through some of that. Yeah.
Would this be an active crime scene? Is there any threat to the general public?
He looks at his phone. Now he looks at his phone and he says, I should probably figure out my phone. Let's rewind again. Should probably figure out my phone. Listen for it.
It's not hold back information. Okay. Brian Enton the next day goes up there with a camera and takes pictures of it. And then the pizza man shows up and the Amazon man shows up.
And the pool cleaner.
The Amazon guy's taking pictures of the package he puts down. For all we know, there's pictures of the blood in those package pictures.
Unbelievable.
But you can't get this guy to say it.
And the family doesn't want him to. Listen to the vibrating phone. Listen in.
We can't really get into a whole lot of details with that now.
Do you believe that this was targeted, or they just happened to hit Savannah Guthrie's mount, or if this was just random? We don't know that. We look at all of that, but we just don't know that. Do they have cameras at the home?
They
do, and we're looking through some of that. Yeah.
Would this be an active crime scene? Is there any threat to the general public?
Trying to figure out my phone.
I should probably figure out my phone. And he's got two phones. He's trying to see which is the one that's buzzing. Did you see that? Holy F and shit. Couldn't decide which one to use. Holy CRAP. CRAP. What the dang? They're controlling the narrative here. I said that in my theory. I'm going to show you one more thing. Nancy Grace, I've looked for the clip. I couldn't find it. Nancy Grace, a few days ago, shows us what looks like the guy at the porch wearing a slip-on cover. We're going to look at that porch video. And I think she's right. Now, why am I saying all this to circle back? I'm saying all this because my theory is the controlling of the narrative from the beginning, that they do have people in mind that they're trying to not publicly mention. And the perps went to extreme lengths to cover their identity, hence the slippers. The families controlling narratives on both sides, in my opinion. Go check out the videos so you understand what that means. And now we've got this TMZ going back and saying, hey, Savannah went back to work today and we just got another note from somebody who wants Bitcoin. I'm going to show you the picture of the perp. I'm sorry, I cannot locate the Nancy Grace clip where she talks about the slip-on, but let's watch it because I think she's right. I think he's wearing slip-ons. They've gone to extreme lengths to put a performance on, to control the narrative, to control the script on both ends, in my opinion. Why? And now, I'll show you the slip-on in a second, but first, I want you to hear, I believe, in my analysis, this Bitcoin TMZ thing is one of the people in my theory that was helping hold Nancy. Helping hold Nancy, I do believe. And the person is actually pissed that the perps are going to get away with this. And he was promised some money. And if I'm correct, and they're in Mexico now, then Bitcoin has a lot greater value there. This, on the day that Savannah goes back to work, is because somebody that was hired by the chefs was promised some money. And this secondary person, mainly not the main waiter, but the affiliated waiter, is effing mad that they're going to get away with it. And watching Savannah on camera and knowing that they never got their money they were promised for their part in it has them miffed and pissed. And that's, in my opinion, why they're reaching out to TMZ. Just my opinion. I'm going to just show you the clip of the perp now, and you tell me if he's wearing slip-ons, because I think Nancy Grace is right. And then stay tuned for another video. It won't be as long because my grandson will be here on Nancy Guthrie today. And tonight, I'm going to do the best I can after my grandson goes home to do the remote viewing of the general regarding the UFO. And then I also want to talk about the missing Lynette Hooker in the Bahamas case in the next day or so, because we got some wild updates that Ashley Banfield gave us, and Nancy Grace is following it now. And I want to give you some thoughts on that case as well. So those are the videos that are coming up. Stay tuned, though. Before you go, let's just watch this, and you tell me if you think the perp might be wearing slip-ons. I think Nancy Grace is right. So I took a picture because I wasn't able to find the moment Nancy Grace discussed it. I went back through several days of her videos. But on this clip right here, she says this could be a slip-on. And I'm not so sure she's not right. Look at it. It's a big black thing. It could literally be a slip-on to cover. And apparently it's what crime scene investigators can wear. So it's interesting just to note if it's true. And I think it's likely that this is right, a slip-on. As I look at it more closely, the point being, they went to extreme lengths to conceal their identities. The masks, the 2 layers of clothes, the gloves. So, of course, they're going to send the TMZ notes through TMZ because they haven't been tracked. They have not been able to track them. Anyways, love and light. Tell me what you think. I will do the best I can to get another video up later today. But this case is just getting wilder and wilder. Why is the family trying to control the narrative as well? Is very, very interesting. Thank you for being here. Have a great day.